All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give our honor and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rekakudash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Lord, when this lesson be edifying to you, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians who consist of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's your fellow servant, Yahawah, from the GMS Orlando camp. And Lord, when this lesson be edifying, all right. As you can see, we're here. I picked up this word from watching Elder Yashawamba's Remnant Saved 144. Watching that page, subscribe and be edified to it, okay? But it's Remnant Saved 144, okay? And they also have a bot too, a backup, okay? But he mentioned this word, called polycrisis, okay? And I just want to dive into it, and pretty much bring what that means to light, okay? Here's the definition. It says, a polycrisis is a situation where multiple interconnected crises occur simultaneously, amplifying each other and creating impacts greater than the sum of individual crises. Okay. So definition and key features. It says a polycrisis occurs when distinct crises, economic, environmental, geopolitical, social, or technological interact in ways that intensify their overall impact. Okay. Read that again. A polycrisis occurs when distinct crisis, okay? There's no such thing as a coincidence, okay, in politics. Economic, environmental, geopolitical, social, or technological interact in ways that intensify their overall impact. Unlike isolated crisis, a polycrisis involves systematic entanglement, okay? Meaning that the crisis cannot be fully understood or resolved independently, okay? This interconnectedness creates feedback loops where a shock in one domain, such as climate change or financial instability, cascades into others, producing complex and often unpredictable outcomes, okay? So as we move on, towards the end, Esau is coming out with all his tricks. He's just throwing them out of his bag. Okay, you have riots going on, I believe it's the UK. Okay, and we'll get into that. Okay, riots going in the UK. You got this Hunter virus. You got this talks of Ebola. Okay, you have the separation between the far right and the far left. Okay, the left and the right, the Republicans and Dominican Republicans and Democrats. Okay, you have the separation between the people. All right, there is many things that's going on inside this ball of dust, which is Babylon. Okay, all right, and it's a ball of confusion. Okay, it's a ball of confusion, and it's in the scriptures. Said it would be like this in this time, man. Okay, all right, that it would be madness, running rampant. Okay, we will be in a very unstable time. Okay, that the leaders here would rule with smoke with anger. Okay, rule the people in anger and plot against their people. Okay, before we move on, let's get this real quick. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. All right. And I'm an NLT version. Okay. It says, "What sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking of evil plans." Okay. When you have a poly crisis, it's usually, in this situation, it's brought about through the government. Okay. The fact that we have ticks carrying diseases, Bill Gates messing with the mosquitoes, making up with the ecosystem. Okay, saying that he's doing good, but he's definitely not. He's killing us off. Okay, all right. Just much confusion through different, avenues, okay, through different crises. All right, but they all are under an umbrella. Okay, they are under an umbrella, and that umbrella is the elites and their NWO. Okay, all things are pointed towards the last big prophecy. Okay, which is the MOTB. All right, the CHIP if you haven't heard of it. Okay, if you haven't been around. All right, all roads lead to that main prophecy. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. All right, Salaki. All roads lead there. So Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to those who plan iniquity. Okay, because in the midst of these poly crises, people are dying. A lot of injustice going on. Okay, to those who plot evil on their beds. Okay, at morning's light, they carry it out. All right, and I'm at the NIV. Same thing. Okay, uh, at morning's light, they carry it out because it is in their power to do it. Okay, who else has the power to put inside these ticks, these bugs, diseases? Okay, because they didn't have it before. Okay, and why is it being admission through ticks? Okay, what's up with this Hunter virus? Okay, it seems when when it's about to be pushed back from the government's people, this is when they unleash it. Okay, to put you people in order. Okay, what's up with the money system? Okay, what's up with that? All right, and you still have police officers killing Jake. Okay, it's a whole collage of crisis going on. Every which way you look, there is something happening in Babylon. Oh, okay, Babylon the Great. All right, and let me pull this up. And this says here, man, judgment against wealthy oppressors. Now, a lot of people like to say, okay, oh, we've done wrong too. We the so-called black man, it's not, has done wrong. And yeah, true, we've done wrong by our Lord. But what we are trying to tell you, the true wicked that the scriptures speak of, we grab it here. Yeah, I got two of them on the same thing. Okay, let me go back on this one. Well, I'll go back on this one. Okay, Psalms chapter 36, verse 4. Even on his bed, that he is somebody. Even on his bed, he plots wickedness. Okay, so Jake doesn't have the amount of resources. Okay, as it says here, judgment against the header. It says judgment against wealthy oppressors. Jake does not have the resources to oppress. The scripture says Jake will be oppressed, that the rich will oppress the poor. Okay, even on his bed he plots wickedness. He sets himself on a path that is not good. He fails to reject evil. Okay, that's not Jake, man. You know, it says thou art wiser than Daniel. Okay, Esau is wiser than the children of light. The children of light, Jake do some wicked stuff, but Jake couldn't ultimately come up with this, man. Jake had to be forced among this heathen nation to be able to think like this, okay? To be able to fathom or to come up with anything close to this. We're talking about a man that is taking, and murdering people by the mass, okay? By the masses of numbers, in many different ways, okay? That's why it says those who plot evil on their beds, okay? At morning's light, they carry it out. You think it's stuff of helping, you think it's stuff about helping the earth grow, helping people, get justice, helping the people flourish. And no, it's to bring out destruction. Okay, the thief comes not to, but to steal, kill, and destroy. Okay, because it is in their power. It is in their power to do it. Okay, they have the resources, man. They can get it done. All right, the power is in their hand. All right, Micah chapter 2, verse 1. What sorrow awaits you? It's like it's getting a little late on, but it says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking of evil plans? You rise at dawn and hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so. When you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. We see that going on in I believe it was in Argentina, Chile. Okay, the small hats, the tiny tops, going in and burning land and having the law back them up to where if that land was burnt, they can move in and take it. Okay, they season it. There's so many things going on. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence. Right. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance, man. Okay. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 16. For their feet run to evil, and they are swift to shed blood. Okay. And this is back to Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 59, verse 7. Their feet run to evil. They are swift to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are sinful thoughts. Ruin and destruction lie in their wake. Okay. So, hey, it's a much more, you know, different type of beast we're talking about, other than just sinning. This man is the ultimate destroyer. Okay. It says, and again, I look and I consider all the oppression taking place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they had no comforter. The power lay in the hands of their oppressors, and there was no comfort. Right? Polycrisis, stirring up all type of wickedness. Okay, stirring up all type of iniquity and evil plots. All right. Now we're gonna get into this video real quick. All right, and this is fair use, fair use. All right. It says here, hantavirus isn't the real threat. Ebola is. So which one is it? Okay. And keep in mind as we speak, we're only speaking, we're speaking as if, playing dumb, but we definitely know what's going on. Matter of fact, while that came up, let me grab this real quick. It says 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Okay, NLT. I'll grab up one. Okay. All right, boom. I started the point. Okay, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Okay, it just told you, Micah, they plot evil amongst their bed. Okay, so it says, and I started saying, when you forgive this man, I forgive him too. And when I forgive whatever needs to be forgiven, I do so with Hamashiach's authority for your benefit. Okay, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Okay, and this man has evil schemes. All right, he has evil plots against the people. All right, he is ruling this people with anger. He's ruling, the elites of the world are ruling the people with anger and madness. Okay, so let's get into it.
A rare disease called hantavirus is back in the news after a deadly cluster of cases was discovered on a cruise ship in the Atlantic earlier this month. So far, there have been at least 11 confirmed or suspected cases connected to the cruise, including 3 deaths. You may recall hantavirus making headlines back in February 2025 after being linked to the death of actor Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy Arakawa, who got the disease after coming into contact with rodent droppings in their home in New Mexico. Health officials say the current outbreak involves the Andes strain, a type of hantavirus that can spread.
This has been the same game plan from when they came against GAD, okay? The blankets with the diseases on them, okay? The Black Plague, all these different plagues. Esau has been harboring the diseases, man. Instead of destroying them, he harbors them, okay? And he uses them for biological warfare, okay? If you don't know what that is, look it up, all right?
From human to human in close contact, leading some people to war.
And look at this, man. This is the same bullshit with COVID, all right? But we've been telling you COVID was the pre-runner, all right? This is going to be the real deal. A lot of people are going to drop dead, okay? A lot of you people that played around, you took the vaccine on the first round. Well, your system, your body is set up for the punch, for the knockout, okay? Just because you didn't listen to the prophets, man, your body is set up for the knockout punch, all right? Because who knows? Only God knows what they put inside you, man. You talk about the devil, okay? The devil, he's not on your side, man. He was created to destroy, to waste. And you people, you sat there and you just trust them. You take all these different things they have for you to put inside your body, all these different poisons, and it wires your system up, okay, to succumb to these different viruses, man, because your system can't fight against what they put inside you. It'll try, but hey, ultimately they shutting down things one by one when they give you these vaccines, man. All right, and Jake does not learn. When does Jake ever learn? But anyways, these suits, man, going back to these suits and these fucking face masks, it's a bunch of confusion, man.
Could we be on the cusp of another global pandemic? But what do scientists say? Hello and welcome to USA Today's The Excerpt. I'm Dana Taylor. Here to explain more about this current outbreak and to dispel some of the myths is Dr. Peter Hotez, Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine and Professor of Pediatrics and Molecular Virology and Microbiology at Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. Hotez, it's good to speak with you again.
Great to talk to you, Dana.
As I mentioned, there's a lot of public concern about this hantavirus outbreak. For people who are still unfamiliar with the disease, what is it? What kind of illness can it cause? And what are the fatality rates?
Yeah, this is a virus that's a natural virus of rodents, of certain species of mice and rats, not typically household rodents, but more those that are out in the wild. So for instance, there's a type of New World hantavirus, Western Hemisphere hantavirus, that's found in the American Southwest in places like New Mexico and Arizona, which was the one that affected Gene Hackman's wife. That particular virus is called sin nombre. This one is similar, but has one important difference. It's called Andes virus, and it's found in Argentina and Chile. And the reason it's different is, unlike sin nombre,
we would say coincidence, but we know what time it is.
In the American Southwest, which no one has ever described a person-to-person infection, meaning all the infections occur by inhalation of the virus through aerosols from rodent urine, rodent feces. The Andes virus is the first New World hantavirus that's been shown to be transmitted person to person as well. The fatality rates, we don't have a lot of human experience with it, but it's pretty high. They're usually around 30%. So, if you're unfortunate enough to get hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which is the clinical disease of these particular viruses, then it's a very serious illness, and it requires ICU admission and high fatality rate.
What do we know so far?
It says high fatality rate. Okay, this man is not coming to fucking play with you and love on you. All right, this is the devil. Okay.
About cases associated with the cruise ship? And what are the biggest open questions investigators are still trying to answer?
The best part about Russell Stover sugar-free candies: no sugar, great taste, guaranteed.
Meet nature's original multivitamin. Grass-fed beef liver, pure, no fillers, and over 80 nutrients.
I think there's still some question about exactly how the first two individuals who became very sick and ultimately lost their lives became infected. It's believed that they probably acquired it not on the ship, but while visiting wild bird populations, and possibly they came into contact with rodent urine or rodent feces inadvertently and unwittingly.
Hey, if we've been around, these birds and animals for a long time, okay, what happened with this virus in 2006, 5, 4, 10? What happened? Okay, why is it now that the people are waking up to your bullshit, and exposing you? Why now? Why now? And that's the question to ask, man, for you people that, are not inquiring about these, about this type of things.
Wittingly, and then inhaled the virus. And then when they went on the ship, we know that cruise ships can be a crucible sometimes for transmitting virus infection, and may have passed the virus on to several other individuals.
The World Health Organization is closely monitoring this outbreak, as is the CDC. What are they saying?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that this epidemic has been going on now for a few weeks. We're probably in our 6th or 7th week of this particular outbreak. And here's why that's important, Dana. This virus has what's called an incubation period of usually around 3 to 4 weeks. Incubation period means the time from which you're exposed to the virus to when you start showing symptoms. So the fact that while the incubation period rarely can go up to 6 weeks, the fact that, for most individuals it's 3 to 4 weeks, and we're already 6 or 7 weeks into this epidemic, suggests to me that we're not going to see many more cases, assuming everyone is adhering to quarantine and that sort of thing. We may see 1 or 2 additional cases, but I do not see this blowing up into a big epidemic. It's certainly not a pandemic.
What are the symptoms?
Well, the symptoms are, unfortunately, with hantavirus, especially New World hantaviruses, there's not much of a window period from the time you first start getting sick to when you really get sick and require ICU admission. So sometimes it'll start with cold-like symptoms or flu-like symptoms, meaning fever, headache.
The same drew up play, the same symptoms, nothing changes, man. Okay, these people are harboring diseases and are releasing them when they feel like they want to. Okay,
extreme fatigue, and unfortunately, once that starts, oftentimes people can deteriorate pretty quickly.
Do we know how many Americans might have been exposed from the outbreak yet? And then also,
anyways, that's that part. You want to check that video? It's USA Today. Hantavirus isn't the real threat. Ebola is. Okay, however that at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of shit going on that they released. Okay, real quick. Because people think that, just because the government isn't killing them with swords and guns up to their face right now, that the government wishes the best on them. Okay, it's different ways he can smoke you people out there. And that's through these different viruses, biological warfare, as I said. Okay, and many other things, man. Your water, your food supply, the air. Isaiah 14:6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke. That's polycrisis. It's continual. Polycrisis are continual. Let me grab this real quick. Okay. It says polycrisis involves systematic entanglement. Okay, meaning the crisis cannot be fully understood or resolved independently. Okay, it keeps going. It says polycrisis is a situation where multiple interconnected crises occur simultaneously, amplifying each other and creating impacts greater than the sum of individual crises. So with this virus, it's going to come a lockdown, we believe. And with the lockdown comes a riot. All these things, man. Okay? All these things, are creating impacts greater, you know, for greater things to come. All right. Now we ultimately know this man wants total control, but right now he is ruling you people. Okay. King James Version, Isaiah 14:6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Okay. So now this is the prophecy that's coming soon coming. He's persecuted and none hindereth. That's when all these nations, and when we come against them. Okay, when he's put to lay to rest, nobody's going to care because he hurt the earth, he hurt the people. All right, as I say here, he smote the people in wrath. Nobody cares about a bully when the bully gets his ass spanked. Nobody feels bad for the bully, especially if he's been a bully in his whole life. Isaiah 33, verse 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled. Okay. He did the robbery. Nobody came against him, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. Okay, and that time's coming. All right. Esau is the beginning, Jacob is the end. That followeth. Okay. Esau is the beginning, Jacob is the end. Or Slaki. Make sure I quote that right. God, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth. Okay. Had to get that right. Slaki. All right, Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, the beginning of what? The beginning of a righteous age. Okay, a new age where the people are going to be able to dwell, with justice. Okay, not injustice. All right, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, thou shalt deal treacherously with thee. They shall deal treacherously with thee. Okay. So now, before we get into anything else, let's get into this topic right here. So remember, the topic is polycrisis. Okay, now you have this riot in the UK. All right, about a month ago, it says here. All right, massive London protest, thousands march against far right and racism. Okay.
The march is passing through central London, a river of people streaming through the city. We've seen, old people, younger people, families with children, others also coming from different parts of the UK. We've seen people get off intercity buses. And
now, brother did a lesson on this. Okay, he was on the way to the store and from overseas. And he's from, I think he's from the UK. He is from the UK. And he did a lesson on this. He was extremely excited. He was riding through the streets and he was like, man, it's so fucking packed and it's full. Okay.
The organizers say they want this to be the most significant anti-racist, anti-far right protest in British history. And now, of course, we've spoken spoken to those who've come here today, and many of whom have told us that they're here to take a stand against what they call the politics of hate and division.
Well, we're an inclusive country and we welcome people here. Yeah, we're happy to have people here. We celebrate the diversity.
We're sick of the far right creating division and causing problems for the minorities in this country.
I would like a situation where people become more briefed as to how they're being used and using scapegoats like immigration, that kind of thing.
Well, we've seen a lot of Palestinian flags here, people demanding peace across the Middle East. But it's important to also say that this march was organized in part as a response to another far-right demonstration that took place here in London last September, put on by the activist Tommy Robinson. And that demo came off the back of a summer of protest in front of asylum seekers' hotels. People here say that is not what Britain is about, and they've come out to raise their voices in opposition to that and for inclusion. Milena Veselinovic, Al Jazeera, London.
We're going to take.
All right. So you can see it there. So while you got this Hunter virus coming, I won't be surprised if it gets, delivered out there. Okay, they drop a shipment out there. But anyways, as you can see, all these different crises are building up. Okay, all these poly crises are being set. Okay, and it's ultimately for the New World Order, the NWO. Okay, it's a thing called order out of chaos. All right, they're going to get chaos flowing and rampant at its highest level, so they can bring in the order. Okay, and that order is what? Being under one banner, NWO. Bringing them an illusion of what could be a better world. Okay, where ultimately it's just more total control. All right, and that's the MOTB. Okay, everybody under one umbrella. But this is the way the man's running his kingdom, and the Lord does not like it. Okay, the Lord does not like it at all. Okay, that's a part of that gross darkness. Okay, his wicked schemes, his wicked plots. Okay, that's that gross darkness that it was talking about in Isaiah 60, verse 2, I believe. That gross darkness, and pretty much a ball of confusion. Confusing the people. All right, making them go this way, tossed to and fro. Every wind of doctrine. Everybody don't know what, nobody knows what the truth is, except for the elect. Okay, so there's a lot of pushback going to come from his people, but ultimately that's what he wants. He wants the people to get out of whack. Okay, to get out of order, so that way he can bring that sword down and be able to rule them as they want to. Right now they're faking. The elites, okay, the Esau, they haven't turned up all the way. Okay, the scripture says he's going to come down having great wrath. All right. So when that time comes, we'll be able to, tell Jay, listen, we told you that this man was the devil. Okay, now you want to believe him? This man put before you the coronavirus. Now he puts the Hunter virus in front of you. Okay, now he put these weak ass vaccines, in the midst of these viruses. Okay. It's very simple, man. This man is not in your benefit. He's not for your benefit, okay? So, yeah, man. Lord, when this lesson was edifying, until next time, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem, Kakodash, and the honors to the apostles, the elders, great millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect, all right? Polycrisis, okay? Shalom.